Hello and welcome to the Carroll History Project's Veteran Reception. To start us off today, we will have Skip Amos, Community Media Center board member and chaplain of the American Legion Post 31.
May we all rise. Unless wearing a military cap, gentlemen, please remove your hats and face the flag. All veterans, right hand salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the country for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order arms.
Thank you, Skip. And joining us to sing the national anthem is Christina Carvin. Christina is a day program specialist at the Arc of Carroll County and a member of the Carroll Community College's Carroll Jazz Singers.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so, streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Very beautiful. And it still gives me goosebumps. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for coming out on this hot and very summery but very humid day to help us celebrate the Carroll County History Project and to recognize and thank our local veterans for their participation in this project. My name is Marion Ware, and today I am especially proud to say that I am the director of this Community Media Center. I would like to begin by recognizing some of our local and state officials that have joined us today. If you would just stand or at least raise your hand so people will know who you are. Melissa Joseph, representing Congressman Van Hollen. Thank you for coming. Heather Campbell, representing Senator Cardin, not here yet. April Rose, delegate of District 5. Thank you, April. Dennis Frazier, Commissioner, Carroll County. We have, I'm going to skip. Virginia Harrison. Is Virginia here? Carroll County School Board. Her husband is here, and a veteran. That counts. Bob Lord, Carroll County Board of Education. Jim McCarran, Mayor of Tawnytown. Thank you, Jim. Lynn Wheeler, Director of Carroll County Public Library and a partner of the History Project. Jean Lewis, President, NAACP. And I'm trying to look through the lights. Jeff Collins, Veterans Services Coordinator, is he here? I know he's in our piece, okay. Haven Shoemaker, House of Delegates, District 5, there's Haven. And Julia Albovic, representing Senator Barbara Mikulski, and there she is. thank all of you for joining us today. The History Project, as Jean Lewis so beautifully says every time she is asked, is near and dear to all of our hearts. The idea that stories touch our hearts and connect us one to the other and ties us back to this place is the core of the History Project. It is history through the eyes of the people. It is a living history, and it tells our stories. It is now almost 8 years old. So the idea was a spark of inspiration from Leo Eaton, who we'll hear from later, around discussions of our mission, which is basically to bring new tools of technology, and especially new media, to local people. And it's to enable and enhance and preserve local community. It was based loosely on the idea that is on the public radio, which is StoryCorps. That was kind of our model 8 years ago. It is now a partnered project with Carroll County Public Library, NAACP, Carroll County Human Relations Commission, Carroll County Genealogical Society, the Bureau of Aging and Disabilities, and the Carroll County Historical Society. It has grown. We now have 500 interviews on the web and archived in the cloud and backed up on servers. We are currently working on having 150 of these actually transcribed so that people can use them as research tools. After that, we hope to get a grant that will allow us to not only preserve these histories, but to transcribe them immediately as we actually collect the histories. That's our goal. And then to share that with the state. And what we think we'll have is a model that can go other places, to other communities throughout the state. And that's our real hope. And so I hope that you will become involved to make that hope, that dream come true. I won't say that this initiative has been easy. It has not. But it has been incredibly rewarding in so many ways that I can't even begin to use up my 3 or 4 minutes to tell you about. But I will guarantee if you get involved with us and with this project, you too will see that. Meeting individuals, people that you would think might be ordinary that aren't, stories that will inspire you. It has been one of the most rewarding projects I have been involved with. I am proud to have helped launch this project. I don't believe that I'm the responsible one. This project is really everybody's collective history, and it therefore belongs to the entire community. I hope that today, as we recognize the veterans and their contributions, that we will go out in the communities and let other people know about this project and get them involved. 500 is a very small piece of Carroll County, actually. So if you do one other thing, pick up the little brochure and give it to someone else that you know. Because I would like to see this archive grow more and more, because I think the people that then go on and look at these stories are not just inspired at times, but they really have a sense of their own community. Lastly, I just simply want to thank the veterans for not just their service. We honor veterans, I think, as veterans, but I think it's seldom that we look at them or see their stories and the individual people and their connection to their families and to their places, their communities. And I think that is what you see when you look at these histories. And so I want to thank them very much, not just for their courage in terms of their service to what are American values around freedom and individual rights and defending and protecting this nation, but I want to thank them for having the courage to also share and tell. So thank you for that. And with that, I will bring up Megan again, who's going to lead us through the program. I want to also say I have the best staff of anybody in Carroll County, truly, I do. And if you're involved here, you'll think that too. But Megan, this has been her initiative, and she has done a terrific job of shepherding it through. So I just want her to know how much we appreciate that, all of us. So thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marion, and welcome everybody. Thank you again for coming. My name is Megan Ratty, and I'm the History Project Coordinator here at the Community Media Center. The Carroll History Project decided to focus on a very important group of residents this year, our veterans. There are roughly over 14,000 veterans residing in Carroll County today. We were lucky enough to have 13 of those veterans from World War II to Afghanistan volunteer to participate in our Veterans Oral History Collection Day on April 25th of this year. These veterans shared their memories, struggles, stories, and everything else on camera. I can promise you that this is not an easy thing to do, and we are incredibly fortunate for all your participation. Volunteers who live across the county, fellow veterans, students at Carroll Public Schools, McDaniel College ROTC, and more interviewed our veterans. I thank you all for your participation as well. I would also like to thank Melissa Joseph with Congressman Van Hollen's staff. On this event, we partnered with Congressman Van Hollen of Maryland's 8th District, and the benefit to this was not only are these interviews and stories being preserved at a county level, but it now is a county, state, and national level. They'll be added to the Library of Congress's Veteran History Project, and they'll now be viewed for the nation to see. So this is a great thing, and thank you, Melissa. So with that, I'm gonna bring up Melissa Joseph. She's a field representative for Carroll and Frederick counties, and she's gonna present a congressional proclamation. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I do have to start with a bit of an apology this evening. We were really hoping that Congressman Van Hollen would be able to join us, and he was very disappointed that he was not able to make it tonight. Unfortunately, as some of you may know, he is the ranking member on the Budget Committee, and that is a big job that keeps him on Capitol Hill more than it should. So we're very sorry that he was not able to join us in person. I want to thank Megan, who has been just such a help throughout this process, and Marion as well, who has been just so supportive of our submission of these oral histories to the Veterans History Project. It's so important that we preserve this history while we still can and make sure that others have access to it as much as possible. So we're very happy to be doing this. I do have a congressional citation that I would like to present to the Community Media Center. And it reads, "This citation is presented to the Community Media Center in recognition of the Carroll County History Project and your participation in the Veterans History Project, with gratitude and appreciation for your outstanding efforts to remember, recognize, and preserve Carroll County's long and distinguished history of military service for future generations." And it is signed Congressman Chris Van Hollen, and I'd like to present that to Marion.
And we will also have another proclamation presentation. It is not on your agenda and your program, but it will be Juliana Albowitz on behalf of Senator Barbara Mikulski.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to begin by thanking the Community Media Center for the project and all the work that you have done. This means so much to everybody, not only in Carroll County, but all of the people that will listen and view these stories, because once our veterans are no longer with us, there's no way of getting these history stories back again. So it's such an important thing what you've done here today. And also to all the veterans that are here, I would like to say thank you very much for your service. What you have sacrificed and what your families have sacrificed for what you have gone through. We really are very appreciative. If I can get Megan and Miriam to join me, I have a senatorial certificate of special recognition, and this is being presented to Carroll County Community Media Center on the occasion of your History Project celebration of veterans, in recognition of the showcase of local Carroll County veteran service and sacrifice, which is taken from the Special Veterans Oral History Collection Day on April 25, 2015, and submitted to the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. Best wishes, God bless you, may God bless America, signed Barbara A. Mikulski, United States Senator, on this, the 12th of June, 2015.
Thank you, Juliana and Melissa. And now we'll be having two speakers, two very extraordinary veterans who participated in our Oral History Collection Day. First speaking is an amazing woman and patriot, retired Sergeant Major Elaine Stem. She is a native of Taneytown who enlisted in the United States Marine Corps shortly after high school. After a tour in Quantico, Virginia, on active duty, Elaine entered the federal government as a civil service employee. While a federal employee, she re-enlisted in the United States Marine Corps Reserve. Elaine worked in administration until selected for first sergeant. Later, as sergeant major, she served a tour in Operation Iraqi Freedom in February of 2003. It is an honor to welcome retired Sergeant Major Elaine Stem.
Good afternoon. I was very honored to participate in the Veterans Oral Day program because I think it is important to preserve veterans of Carroll County's dedication to their country. Hearing what an individual did while serving is something they did because they sacrificed their time away from their loved ones, and that should not be forgotten. A veteran should be proud of what they did while they served, and they should want to express, their experiences, whether it was good and not bad. I feel citizens today who did not serve, for whatever reason, want to hear what we have to say, and they are proud of what we did in our service. I see that organizations and communities in our area recognize veterans by saying thank you, and that goes a long way. The recognition veterans get today, compared to what the veterans from the Vietnam era received, is 100% better. The generation at that time did not appreciate what our men and women were doing. But they were doing what they were asked to do by our government. Right or wrong, they were there. Being a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, I know we had the support from our country. Back home, we were given the greeting on our return home that was much appreciated. We had the welcome home all veterans should receive. It is not about so much honored. I believe that our veterans should be heard, listened to their issues, be cared, and given the benefits that they deserve because they stood up and served. The veterans that, through all the wars, they defended the freedoms we had today. And I realize I only served 30 years. And I would do it again because I think it was honorable. I like taking care of young people, and I'm proud of what I did. And I appreciate our citizens out there to appreciate us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elaine. And speaking next is veteran Bill Murphy, who also participated in the collection day. Bill is a very familiar face around the Community Media Center. He is sometimes considered the unofficial recruiter because he's drawn up so much support for us. Sometimes I feel like he's my coworker because I see him so much. So Bill served in the United States Air Force from 1963 to 1968 as an Air Force medic and instructor. Bill has been a producer here at the Community Media Center for just under a year. Bill is a public speaker and has been a member of the Carroll County Toastmasters organization for 16 years. Bill recently completed 5 new townhouses as a member of the Construction Committee for Habitat for Humanity in Carroll County. I'm happy to introduce Bill Murphy.
My fellow veterans, honored guests, it's a privilege and an honor to come to talk to you today, because today is a very, very important thing to remember our veterans who gave their lives to keep this country free. I'd like to read an old poem. It's called In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, fell down, saw a sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us, we die. We shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Field. And that was from John McKay, who wrote this back in World War I. And I really believe that today we're under attack from all over the world, from ISIS, and also from within. I'm going to be quoting a lot of Ben Franklin today. And I have a bucket here with a rope on it. This bucket demonstrates freedom. Ben Franklin said 200 years ago, freedom is like a bucket of water that you put down the well. You put it down the well, you anticipate it's going to be filled up with water when you bring it back. What freedom is when you put that bucket down, you raise it back up with no water. In other words, it's everything that you expect it to be there, and it's not there. That's freedom. We have so much freedom in this country that sometimes we just forget how important it is, this beautiful country that we have in the United States. Our veterans have sacrificed so much for us. And unfortunately, I read in the paper today, one of the things was the commissary, the United States commissaries, where the veterans save on the average of $4,500 a year. There's a bill getting ready to go to Congress for the president's signature that says that they're going to cut this funding. What that would mean is $4,500 more that our veterans would have to pay. That's not right. And I'd like to also talk about this. And this is a quote from Ben Franklin. By failing to prepare, you are preparing to fail. I never knew that until today, because that's been around for many, many times. He who fails to prepare prepares to fail. Well, that goes back to Ben Franklin. And the same thing with our country today. We have to get more serious about national security, about where we are, and what impact that we can have on the life of others. For example, in the United States, we have 50, 70 people here today. All veterans and some not veterans that are guests that are here with us. And I challenge you to go out and do something productive for this country, for yourself. A good friend of mine in Toastmasters, Steve Roberts, he passed away about 6 months ago, and he was recognized over at the Saul Levinson Funeral Home by the Jewish war veterans. And one of the things that Steve used to do is go out and visit the veterans that are in the hospitals, down in the VA, down in Green Street. And this is the type of actions that we should do, that we should be challenged to do something positive for our country and also to help ourselves at the same time. Another thing that I'd like to talk about just briefly is this beautiful history project that we have here. I've been involved with the Community Media Center for a little over a year. Megan Ratty, she's a wonderful getting this all together here. She also speaks Chinese. I didn't know that until recently. And I'll tell you, all the good work that they do here is just wonderful. For example, with the elections that we've had all over the place in Carroll County, the Community Media Center was there to elevate this so that all the people that have Comcast and it's streaming live can really see what's going on in their individual communities. So that is an important part. So for the commissioners that are here, please give us funding here for this fine organization. Thank you. I've been very influenced by my good friend Mike Madog-Sater, who's the 2014 Veteran of the Year. Mike has done so much for this county, it's just absolutely unbelievable. I thank the commissioners for the vans that we have going down to Green Street and all the work that they're doing to help the veterans here in Carroll County. We're the only county that I'm aware of, from what Mad Dog told me, in the state of Maryland that has 2 service advisors, Jeff Collins and I forget the other one. But this is very, very important and very positive so that we can have an impact, you know, and help our veterans who have given their lives so much to us. I talked to Leo Eaton prior to coming up here. I told him about a friend of mine that has a Bronze Star. And I knew him for a long time. I never knew what he did in the Vietnamese War. But his wife showed me the program that they gave him, the proclamation, for what he did in Vietnam. He's a hero. He killed 15 Viet Cong in a machine gun nest. It saved the lives of hundreds of his fellow people. He's a hero, but again, like Mike Sater, he's very humble and never wants to talk about it. These are our true heroes. And also among us here, these are all heroes that have given their time for our country, to keep us free. And that's my closing remarks. One other thing, I forgot Ken Rupert, a fellow producer. The good things that Ken has done is he has a son that has Soto syndrome. And I helped him to develop a program that's going to be streamed on Channel 19 to help and let people that have disabilities in Carroll County understand how to deal with it. And a lot of times people don't have any idea what to do. And this is a great program, so I'm asking you to listen to that and just to help our country stay together. And I have a bumper sticker in the back of my 4Runner, and that says, "Pray for the president." It's a tough job. Nobody's got all the answers, but we're going to make it. We've always made it before, and we'll make it again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. No Chinese today. Up next, we will be showing the veteran compilation video showcasing these wonderful veterans. To introduce the video will be Community Media Vice Chair Leo Eaton. Leo Eaton is an Emmy Award-winning filmmaker who's written and produced, directed, and executive produced TV factual series and specials for the United States and overseas broadcasters for more than 3 decades. Most recently, a director on Sacred Journeys, a 6-part documentary series that follows American pilgrims seeking to transform their lives in sacred places. In Lourdes, France, Sacred Journeys follows wounded soldiers who bathe in sacred waters, searching for peace and healing. Please join me in welcoming Leo Eaton.
Thank you. And it's a pleasure being here with you all this afternoon. First of all, I would like to echo the comments that have been made here earlier. I welcome all of our veterans, and I thank you so much for everything you have given us and done for us. I'm not a veteran. I've never served in the military. But in 40 years of making films around the world, I have been privileged and honored to be embedded with military battalions, detachments, groups, companies from many different nations in many different countries. Initially in Northern Ireland during the Troubles with the British Army. I was part of the invasion of Haiti. I was in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait during the no-fly period. But as Amy said, going to Lourdes with a bunch of wounded veterans a couple of years ago changed my world. Because for all I had spent a lot of time talking to veterans, being around veterans, living with veterans, this was a time when they were all severely wounded, the ones we followed, and were going for healing. Lourdes is a Catholic shrine. Most of them weren't Catholic. But they felt that it was important both to be somewhere which was about healing and to be with each other, to share their stories. Because I think this is the most important thing we can do. As non-veterans, we can listen to those stories and encourage the veterans to tell them. Because so many don't. So many aren't willing to. For too many, it's too painful. I have one of my closest friends was in Vietnam. Only last year was he able to open up to some of the things that had happened to him there and some of the things he'd done. I remember talking to a veteran quite recently. I'm currently involved in a new PBS project, a theatrical documentary, which is looking at women veterans coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. We're filming it down in Texas, and we're hearing some truly horrendous stories. But we're also hearing some wonderful stories of nobility and bravery and courage. And as one veteran said to me, you know, we come back and people say, thank you for your service. And it's like it's a way of just not engaging. Thank you for your service, and we go on. He said, if you want to thank us for our service, listen to us. Hear what we had to say. Engage with what we went through. Understand what we went through. We want to tell you, we want to share that with you. And I think to me the most important thing is the opportunity one can give veterans to tell their stories. That's why I'm so proud of this initiative, and I hope you all enjoy this little taste of the Veterans Project that we're putting on. Thank you.
I'm very grateful and thankful to the Community Media Center to have this opportunity to discuss, issues that the veterans have, the good work that's being done throughout Carroll County, that we are supporting our veterans, and also for the commitment of our veterans that allowed us to have a better society here, and this freedom that we enjoy here in Carroll County as a result of the sacrifices of many of our veterans that gave their lives for the support of this country. And I'm very, very grateful to them, and also to all of our representatives here that we might have our problems, but I think that we're going to resolve a lot of them, because the freedom that we enjoy is so important to all of us, and let's keep it free.
Did you come face to face with the enemy? Did you have to have combat with the enemy, or?
Oh, well, we was in combat with her all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time we was in front, we was in the combat with the front. That's part of it. Because there wasn't nobody behind us but us. Maybe I thought about it when I wake up in the bed. You wake up in the bed and you're fighting, still fighting the war. I come out, and my wife, I'd almost beat her to death. I wake up in a fight, and I'm in bed. I come down this pipe. That went on for a long time, and finally I kept working till she could tell when I got restless, and I was restless for a long time, but I finally got over it.
And we actually served in Vietnam. And then, of course, all the submarines were basically involved in the Cold War. a lot of people don't think of as war unless you were out there doing it. And it was pretty hectic. You know, one time we got an unidentified contact, so we're trying to track it down, find out who's in our waters and stuff like that. And we went to battle stations for, I think, 70 some hours. So that's everybody on the boat is awake and at their station for that whole time. And then when we secured from battle stations, I had the next watch. So that was not fun. So I was up about 76 hours straight on that one.
The World War II and the Korean vets are unforgiving. That is, they're wonderful people, but they know what they went through, and they make no apologies, and most of them don't even want any benefits. I have one veteran from World War II who was a bombardier. He was shot down. He spent 2 years in a Nazi prison camp. He says a Nazi doctor saved his life in that prison camp. He came out with malnutrition. He didn't get services from the VA until 2010. He didn't get any disability since 2010 until 2010, and they didn't go back and retro pay him.
We had been told that there would be 10,000 Russian planes, which sound like a lot of planes, coming over the North Pole that night into the United States. And kind of disconcerting thinking you're in a magnesium trailer, that one little spark sets it off. All the missiles, by the way, were in concrete beds, which would have been totally worthless without any radar to guide them. A typical problem. So we finally got the word at the last minute that the Russian fleet had turned around. And you can imagine what happened in that facility. We had the wildest celebration you can ever imagine.
We moved from one place to the other in half tracks.
Right.
And on the second day of January, we were moving, and we weren't supposed to be any Germans close by, but there were, because it started zeroing in on our group of half tracks, and finally when they found the right range, they really hammered us, and that's where I got messed up, because one hit under the front end and flipped this half track over, and the guy and I sitting in the back end across from each other, we were the only two that survived that mess, and we stayed out in the snow all night then, because I had both legs broken, shrapnel in the legs, and I still don't have no feeling in my left leg.
In Vietnam, I originally flew what was called Slicks, and that was the H model helicopters, the troop carriers. My first several days in country, I received fire, and I landed the helicopter and looked at the tail rotor, the tail boom area, and I saw this small puncture going in, and I saw this hole coming out the other side. That was when I made up my mind, if I'm going to get shot at, I need to shoot back. So I made the transition into armed helicopters, which was the old B model helicopters that were converted, regular troop carriers, converted to armed helicopters.
I think that people are very much the same deep down. One of the things that really struck me in Afghanistan was in working with these villages, they were in areas that were constantly under siege by the Taliban. And we would go out there, and nobody really wanted to mess with us because we could call in close air support and things like that. So we rarely, in Afghanistan, it was very rarely that anybody wanted to pick a fight with us because they knew that, that was going to be a losing battle. But we'd go out and we'd work with these villages for weeks at a time, and I would leave, and then I would come back, and I would find out that the person that I was dealing with had been killed. And it really bothered me from the standpoint of, I felt like it was almost my fault that that village elder had been killed.
During the trip, we had the train hit another train head on, and we had a very bad accident, and a number of people were injured, and we were in the middle of Germany. It was in about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was the third car. We were in those railroad cattle cars, they called them.
Right.
And the accident happened when I was on the lawn far from the locomotive, but the first two cattle cars, if you want to call them that,
Right.
went like that and shattered. They were just wood, and it was kind of a disaster.
And if you look at the after effects of when we left, and the thousands upon thousands of Vietnamese who were slaughtered, the thousands upon thousands that tried to escape in boats, many of them drowned. And then Cambodia, and how many were slaughtered in Cambodia. Our presence there had an effect in terms of preserving or trying to preserve some peace or trying to sort some things out. So, now if we hadn't gone in, maybe that wouldn't have happened at all. I don't know. But no, I don't regret my service. I'm proud of what I did. And, I just think that finally, in the last few years, there's been a little bit of recognition that most of the guys that went over were just guys that went over. They served their country, thought they were doing the right thing, and got caught up in a war that wasn't or became very unpopular.
I guess when I came home from Iraq, came home from a combat tour, the welcome we got home, and I actually almost felt, kind of guilty about it, because I've got a really soft spot in my heart for World War II veterans. I guess because my father and his uncles were World War II veterans, and as Tom Brokaw once said, they were truly the greatest generation. And then the Vietnam veterans who just got treated extremely poor when they came home. They didn't come home as units, they came home as individuals, and they just weren't treated well.
And then when the war started in March 2003, we went to Iraq, and it was pretty dirty. We saw what the people needed, and I was in a sergeant major of a civil affairs group. Civil affairs goes into a community and finds out what they need, and they needed everything. So we were very busy, and we were in an environment that was dangerous. Every night we were being shot at. But every day we were trying to help the people in the community, and I feel we did that. I got a lot out of that. Coming back after a 10-month deployment, I feel like I know what freedom's all about, because they did not have it over there.
If the Americans really know how fortunate we are when you look at them other countries that's being killed off and everything, it's just terrible, terrible, terrible. And what it is, it's too many people in this world, not so bad here, but fighting for power. I'm going to be the kingpin, and they just don't know when to stop. We're lucky to be Americans, thank God.
Thank you, guys. I hope you enjoyed. That is the end, but I wanted to, before we closed, I wanted to have all the veterans that are with us today please stand. And thank you, guys. And there are lapel pins for all the veterans in the lobby. If you didn't get one, I see some of you have, but please take one. There are refreshments and cookies, so please eat the rest of them. Thank you very much for coming. Enjoy your weekend. And if the veterans would come up here for a picture, we would appreciate it. And thank you, guys.